Hello viewers, welcome to CodeForAny Medicare App Backend API. Inside today, I need to develop this year the most important API for the registrations of the medical shops and doctors. We need this year the some verification document to need this year related to degree, personal identifications, and address also of the medical shops and related to we need to needs here the documents. We need to collecting for the list of the document list for the registration stamps. We need to needs here list out. That's why I need to creating here and to develop here the one more tables inside the MySQL database. First of all, we need to add here the new tables for the document list for the registration required tables. Now need to go inside structures and we need to select here the medical care and to add this here the table name document doc detail, and we need to add this here the columns as a 6. We need to temporary set here. We need to give this here the doc list id. We need to set here the auto increments with primary key. We need to set here. So now we need to give this here the document name like here. Set here the where cares. Need to set here the hundreds by default. Need to set this here the blank. Now we need to give this here the types of the dual sides or not dual sides. We need to scans. Need to needs for these documents. Need to set here the types is dual with both side is both like here. So need to set here the types. Set here the one by default. Need to set here the two, and once means one side, two means dual side, back side. Maybe you need to change here front and back sides like this. Two types of here. Here's is both like here's by default. We need to set here the two like need to set here. Now we need to set here the tabs. Which types are the need this documents? We need to specify here. So we need to save this value inside the comma separator and to give this here the user tabs column. So need to pass here like here, and to set this here the where cares, and to set this here the 30, and we need to give this here the identifications. We need to write down here the 2 3 4. Like we need to set here the tabs. 2 means here the doctors, 3 means here the medical shops, 4 means here the medical hospitals. So need to give this here the name like this. We need to set here the tabs. We need to give this here the like tabs. We need to passing here. Then after, so need to needs here the status. If this tier 1 by default need to need this here the 0 means inactive. Inactive once means active, 2 means delete. Like so need to set here the tabs. Then after need to set here the created dates. You need to set this here the date time for the which time need to add this document types. Need to as per records need to creating here, and one more columns need to add and to give this here the modifications date. Select here the date times, and we need to set here the current timestamps. Like we need to configurations for the document list. We need to give this here the table names document underscore list details. Like we need to set this here the table names. We need to create and now need to save this here the database tables. This database are the creatings are the done, and we need to exporting this here the full database. We need to export here. So now need to go inside the export and to exporting and to updates inside the GitHub files. We need to updating here. Like we need to settings here and to configurations are the done for the creating inside the database. Now need to creating here the this document list admin side to need to modify here. So need to add this here the new documents as well. So the user tabs need to setting here. And then after, so need to creating here the edit documents API, need to develop here the today more API need to needs here the parts and to do the dates inside the complete this here the document list parts for the admin sides. And then after, so need to create here the driver registrations as well as the medical shop registrations and hospital registrations forms need to developing here. And then after, so need to starting this here the developing here the app side, we need to using here the block and cubics state management, so need to creating sears. And then after, so need to one by one API calls and remaining API need to develop here the API first makings. And then after, so need to integrations inside the website. Let's start how to create here. First of all, the document list API we need to develop here for this UI. Now we need to find out here the admin API and to below to creating here the new API. Need to write down here the post dot, and we need to create first of all the create API slash admins slash need to give this here the name document document list documents add API document list add API. We need to give this here the request response like here to set here. Now we need to write down here the where need to save here the variables inside the parameters is equal to request dot body like you need to set. And now first of all, so need to print this here the helper dot logs need to request body need to print here like here. Now first of all, so need to verify here the access tokens for the admin access need to check. If not, then unauthorized access need to returning this here the server response need to call this here the change access to check access tokens. We need to pass here the request dot headers we need to pass here. And then after, so need to give this here the response parameters and need to if here the valids, then to get this here the user objects we need to return callbacks we need to get here. And we need to require tabs we need to needs here the admin tabs we need to give this here the pi need to check here the tabs as a pi need to configures. And now like this, you need to checking here these data types are the valids or not. So need to if not, then to unauthorized access need to returning this here the response. If then valids, then to returning this here the user objects of the valid users need to getting here. Now this is are the pass and we need to set here. Now need to required parameters also need to check here. So need to call this here the helpers dot need to check parameters valids and we need to pass here the response object. Then after the JSON objects need to given this here. And now this JSON objects after we need to pass this here the which parameters we need to needs. First of all, so need to open this here the tables need to go here medical shops here. And need to go inside the doc list details tables and need to go inside the structures. You need to needs here the columns need to needs here the documents these tabs both sides need to documents and user tabs also need to pass this here the comma separator like need to defaults value need to setting like this here so need to pass this here. If you here only for this documents needs for the doctors, then to give this here the only two. If you these documents are the needs for the medical shops as well as the documents as needs as a doctors, you need to both types you need to need then to give this here 2 comma 3 like we need to save inside the database. And you also need to needs for the hospital same documents, that's why need to give this here the comma separators value need to pass as a user tabs need to setting here. Now one by one, so need to give this here the parameters names doc slash list doc name. Then after is both. Then after, so need to write down here the user types with comma separators need to needs here the value like these parameters are the needs for the inserting the new list of the documents you need to setting. These conditions are the needs. If valid, then to get this here the callbacks. If not valid, then to return this direct server response you need to missing parameters need to returning this here for the API response. Now need to save this here the inside the database for this configurations of the documentations. Need this here the insert query. Now need to open this here the database. Need to go inside the SQLs and to select this here the insert query. Need to remove this here the values, no needs now. Need to clean here. Also need to document list ID, no needs. Need to cleaning here. And after the status, and need to check here the and status modified date created dates by default need to set here. Now need to cut this value, and also need to set here the tabs is active like here. Need to paste this here. Now need to set here the question mark value like here's 1 2 3 4 5 1 2 3 4 parameters need to needs that's why I need to creating here the 4 question marks, and now need to pass this here the value one by ones, and we need to write down here the functions. First of all, we need to first parameter inside the get this callback inside the errors. Second parameters we need to get this here the query results, so need to getting here and write down here the operators like here, so need to, and now we need to pass this here the parameters value. First one need to give this here the request object dot need to give this here the document name, so need to pass here this one. Then after need to give this here the request dot we need to is both sides parameters need to given this here. Then after request dot user types need to pass here, and then after we need to give this here the last ones as a status means is active or inactive. Status need to set here for directly to add this document. Some documents are the not sure, so need to available so or not, that's why I need to inactive states. If you pass here the 0, then inactive not showing inside the registration times. Now this is are the insert query you need to write down here. If now need to check here the errors, then need to call this here the helper dot throw HTML errors. Need to give this here the errors dot response. If here the get throwing any errors, then to returning this here, and server callback need to close this here, and this response need to close it. If not gets any errors, then to returning this here the results need to check here. If results need to getting here, that means here the successfully inserted this records inside the database, and we need to returning this here the response status set here the one, and we need to give this here the message. Need to set here document added successfully, like we need to set here, and maybe need to against one query we need to write down here for the getting here the all documents need to needs here. Maybe we need to create here the functions, maybe directly write down here the query is good. Maybe dot query right here. You need to go against here the MySQLs select query. You need to write down here. That's why I need to getting this here this value. Need to needs here. So need to with conditions. Need to set here the status not equal to 2 means not deleted. Then to get this here the list. Like we need to write down here the query. Now need to pass this here the value, and we need to setting this here the again, so need to pass here the query results. So need to call back again, so need to check here the if errors, then to write lines like this value, else parts need to paste this here, and we need to give this here the payload, and we need to get here this list results. We need to pass here, and like this we need to setting this here the data, and this else conditions we need to write down here the while response we need to returning this here, so need to response dot json brackets inside we need to set here the status set here 0, and we need to set here the message need to set here message inside, we need to write down here the document add L. You need to save here, and this is the create add documents. You need to this API need to done here. Now another API need to create for the document list. You need to get here for the list out here the admin apps. You need to needs here the this list out which documents you need to insert it inside this for the registration. So need to check here. Now again we need to copy this here the query this API, paste this here, and we need to remove this here the insert query no needs to need to clean here, and also remove here, and this bracket also remove here, and also need to no needs here the check parameters also need to clean here, and now need to get this here the document list API need to cross verify this API available or not. Need to check here's not created. Otherwise need to two API making same names that to conflict this here the callings, and to wrong data need to get here. That's why need to verify here. These names again so need to occupy with the other API. Need to check here. Now and we need to remove this here the message like here's, and we need to set this here the data. We need to returning this here the document list. Now need to save here. And tomorrow need to creating here the edit document list and delete documents need to API need to making here. If you like this video, please give the thumbs up. If you're new user, so please subscribe my channels and press the notification bell icon. You can get every new video notifications and awesome content. If you have any question, so please write down the comment sections. I will help you and sort out your issue. Everyone have a nice day. Goodbye and take care.